All right, let's get started with level 2, you guys. Welcome, welcome. So tonight we're going to focus on turning the torso twist. It sounds simple, but it's not exactly simple. So we can turn that into. Are you okay? Oh yeah. Okay. All right, you ready? Okay, good. So we can turn that into half turns or 3-point turns. So the trick is figuring out how it's going to be one or the other, right? Yes. Okay. So then for our fast step, we're going to look at up 2, down 3 for military pattern, all right? So let's go ahead and do a warm up, and I'm going to put up 2, down 3 in there. And did you guys hear me right? There's a special zill pattern that goes with up 2, down 3. Are you ready? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. Okay. All right, good. So let's get, and then we're going to talk about, well, are there specific songs that are types of music or rhythms that go really nicely with the military? All right, you ready? Sorry. Yeah, here we go. Good job. This is already looking really good, you guys. Okay. So let's heel toe the feet a little wider than hip distance and just kind of push into one foot to go over to on top of the other foot. So you're just kind of bringing that right hip over on top of above the right foot and push to the side. Good. And let's get a little lower. All right, and let's take the arms out wide. So reaching up over here and pushing to this side and reaching. Good. And come back to center, arms up. And as we just keeping the back straight, level down a little bit and then back up. Inhale. Exhale, bending the knees. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Woo. And this time, toes towards the front, keeping the back flat and abdominals contracted as we slowly lower down. So you can either put your hands on the floor or on your knee, above your knees. Bend and straighten the legs. So I want you to kind of walk your hands out so you're really thinking about elongating the space between the crown of the head and the tailbone and contracting the abdominals. Good, and now bending the elbows and letting the head go down to the floor. And now walk your hands in, maybe a little bit behind the feet if that's comfortable, and let the head, crown of the head, point down towards the floor, just letting the head hang. So let's say yes with our head and just make sure it's hanging and we're not using our neck to lift the head up. And contract those abdominals and really feel that extension as the gravity pulls out, pulls the head down. Feel that space between the vertebra open up a little bit. Good, and now bring your hands back in front of your feet. Right, and that's going to use the feet to push into the floor. Take the arms out to the side, contract the abdominals, and slowly lower the torso up, keeping the back straight. Yeah, good. Everybody okay? All right. So arms overhead for a wonderful power pose. And then heel toe the feet in. And hands down to your hips, like Wonder Woman. Perfect. All right, you guys. So starting out a new class, let's have a new gratitude. Bringing the hands into the heart, gesturing out for the space we're in. Lotus blossom for enlightenment. And touching the surface that we're dancing on, your ears for the music we dance to, gesturing or touching the floor. Bring your hands to your forehead for your teachers and your heart for your ancestors. Gesture out for everyone we dance with and everyone we dance for. Beautiful. Slowly bring everything collected up and into the heart. Just reminding yourself all the things that brought you to dance, that made it possible for you to be here, those little subtle things that led you to this path today, and honor that. Awesome. Shake it out. Perfect. Okay. So let's look at torso twist turns. Helen, you're going to be busy if you're going to pick everything up off the floor around here. All right, so let's look at the half turns first. So torso twist, let's take a little diagnostic as to how yours is feeling. if you feel the head and shoulders is really coming off of center, think about how you're going to manage that as your body is turning. So let's dissect this into two halves, because you're going to do one part in your journey from the front to the back of the room, and then you're going to do the other half of your torso twist after you're already have met your destination in the back, right? So maybe breaking it into two halves helps us think about exactly where we should be. So our feet really drive this step. It's all about the feet kind of pushing us around, and the feet do feel awkward. The opposition in this step feels awkward. So we do something called a T-step, and that's the way I teach it. But honestly, if you find a step that works better for you, that's more comfortable for your body, that you achieve the same thing, that is absolutely fine. So the right foot is going to cross over in front of the left foot, so kind of making a capital T, if that's comfortable for you. And then I'm going to shift my weight from the left foot to the right foot, and then when my weight's in the right foot, I'm going to pick the heel up of the left foot and bring it in towards the right foot. Okay, so let me try that again from the front. All right, so I'm not going anywhere right now. I just want you to see the feet. So taking the right foot, putting it in front of the left foot, my toe of the right foot's pointing towards the left. That's the direction I'm going to go in. And then I'm going to pick the heel up of the left foot and bring it in towards the right foot. Okay, so that's roughly what the feet are doing. There will be a little bit more of a push with the feet, because I'm going to need to get, for the half turn, to my front left corner dance angle all the way to my back right corner. And I call it right because when I'm standing at the front, that's my back right corner, and this is my front. So I'm going from front left to back right. Okay, so that's the destination. And then I'm going from the back, of course, returning to the front. So if we look at, to break the arm, the upper body into two halves, I'm going to lift the left arm high and then bring it back. So that's part of my arm undulation. So that's one side. So as well as I'm going to twist my left shoulder forward and lift that left arm and then take my shoulders behind my center and lower the left arm. All right, so let's come back to where we started. I'm going to lift the left arm, rotate the left shoulder forward, then I'm going to lower the left arm as my shoulders go behind center. That is halfway. All right, so let's start over again. So we're just doing the left half. So I'm going to lift my left arm, rotate the left shoulder forward, and then I'm going to unrotate and take my shoulders behind center as my left arm comes down. Is that really clear what the left side is? Yeah, okay. So the right side is going to be starting from behind center, arms even on countertop. And then once you finish your feet, you're going to lift your right arm, rotate the right shoulder forward, lean to the right, and then come in front of your center as your right arm comes down, and then settle back onto center. All right, so the second half, my shoulders are behind center. You feel your weight in the heels. I'm going to lift my right arm, lean to the right. Then I'm going to bring both shoulders in front of my center as my right arm comes down, and then my arms just settle. So I'm not calling the settle an arm undulation. It's just a settle, right? I'm just settling the right arm, and the left arm is just getting settled as well. All right? So right side, behind center. All right, so when you do that, Jennifer, I don't want to see that. You feel this creasing here? So I want you to lift up out of the squeezing the middle back, all right? So this is what I'd like to see. I want you to feel really lifted here when your shoulders are behind your center. Yeah? All right, so come back to the center. So contraction in the back. Lift the chest here. Raise the right arm. Slide your shoulders to the right, in front of your center, and on your center. So that's just the right side. Make sense? Sort of, kind of? Okay, so now let's put it with the feet. So think of the arms in 4 parts. So lifting up and down and lifting up and down, okay? So lifting up as I'm coming to the front, down as I'm back behind my center, right arm lifts up as I'm coming to the right arm comes down as I'm coming on my center. Yeah? Okay, cool. So 4 parts with the arms, keeping the arms moving the whole time, so don't ever let them still or get stagnant. And thinking about the feet. Okay, so now we're going to feel that awkwardness. All right, so I'm going to shift my weight into the left foot, tee my right foot, and I really want you to feel this contraction in the left side. And now my shoulders are behind my center and I'm facing my new angle, and then I finish the right side. Yeah, good. Don't forget that, okay? And now we're going to turn, oh, good, thank you, Cassie. Perfect, that's a great idea. Cassie's at the back corner so she can help everybody. All right, so now teeing the right foot. So leaning out to the left, pushing yourself around with your feet, and finishing the right side after we've already come back here. So feet finish. Now I'm gonna set up again, turn to the back, and finish the right side. So by the time you get to the back, your arms should be on countertop. So if you watch Cassie, turn back to the front. All right, so she's going to lift that left arm. So by the time she's to the back, that left arm is even with the right arm. Make sense? Okay? Okay. All right, back to the front. It's always nice to do one in place. And tee the feet, do the left side, finish the right side, and settle. Do it again. So we're always going to come back to the front. No one's ever going to stop this move in the back. Okay? Make sense? All right? So Aaron, come up to the front. And I would love if you would lead 2 half turns, and let me watch everybody. All right, so just whenever you're ready, keep the knees soft, release the tailbone. All right. Very kind of you to do one in place. I love it. All right. So you feel that momentum in the left side. Feel that momentum in the left side. Yeah, so I really want you to take your shoulders off of center, right? And they're going to stay there. Like she is going to, come do the left side. You're going to stay like this the entire movement to the half turn, but then the left arm is going to come down as you get there. And then you're going to be on center, and then you finish the right side. Yeah, so it's not like we're dramatically changing this move a lot during that turn. You're kind of holding this and moving your entire body, and then you get here as you center, and then you finish your feet and you do the right side. Yeah? It just feels awkward. All right, one more time. Yes? Yes. Try to keep your shoulders level, you guys. There you go. Yeah, very good, very good. Okay, feels good. Any questions, any thoughts? No? Okay, so a couple of tips. Try to keep the shoulders level. Try to keep your head level. Okay? So if you can allow me to demonstrate with Aaron here. So as you lean to the left, you're going to lift this left arm more. So you're going to lower that right arm a little bit below the shoulder, right? So that is to try to keep the shoulders level here, right? So same thing with the right side. But, I mean, you're doing this in your normal position. So see, when she does the right side, this arm comes up. It's going to raise that shoulder a little bit. So you want to lower that arm to try to keep the shoulders level. So try your best to keep the shoulders parallel to the floor. Yeah? So if you start doing this thing, you know, it's going to mess with your balance. Like if you're really letting this shoulder come up, try to keep that shoulder away from the neck and lower that arm. Yeah, and that'll help your balance a lot. Okay, so let's look at the three-point turn. So the three-point turn is more like a flock of birds concept, which you guys know, you're all following each other. So how do you think you tell the difference between the two-point turn or the half turn and the three-point turn? Any ideas?
Somebody in the back.
Yeah? So let's talk about where it stops, because what Carolina is looking for from the audience perspective is 3 equal turns, right? So we know if we're going to go all the way to the back, then it's not necessarily equal. But if we stop it early, we don't go all the way to that back corner, that is a cue that the back person would like to do a 3-point turn. The only thing that the lead could do is move a little slower into the turn if they want a 3-point turn than they would if they want a half turn, right? So what that's going to look like is you move a little slower, then Cassie, being at the furthest point, would stop before that corner back there, right? And then if we get into a 4-person formation here, you guys come on towards me. So Cassie's going to be in 4th position, or quartet. So who do you think would be the person to decide for sure? Good job, Jen. Okay, it's going to be the trio position, whether you're in a trio or a quartet, right? Because you're the person that would stop it to this other back corner. So the 3-point turn goes from the front it goes from the front to here, and then to there. And then Cassie would kind of overshoot this corner a little bit to try to equalize this to make it 3 equal turns. Yeah? Okay, makes sense. Yeah? Sort of, kind of? All right. So, don't get hung up on the exact angle. Back there, it's just, it's really going to be flock of birds. And yeah, definitely think about keeping the head and shoulders level. You don't have as much distance to cover with the 3-point turn, so that's definitely going to feel a little easier for you. And keep the rib cage lifted. Yeah? Okay, let's try it. Lots of talk about the turns, so let's go ahead and put it into action. All right. So this is slow vocabulary. So let me find a song that's nice and smooth and slow, because I don't want you guys to feel rushed. This is not one of those steps where we want to speed it up. So you decide if it stops there, right? So if it stops there in this first corner, then it's going to be a 3-point turn. So Cassie's definitely going to stop it back there in the other back corner. So it stops in the 2 back corners, or generally around there. Yes. Good point. So the only time we made it a rule is if we had a prop, yeah. Okay, let's give that a nice drill. All right, so I did put a drill together. So it's kind of building off the drill we had last week. So where we have, last week I think we had Taksim. So this week we'll put the arms with it. I think last week we did the hand floreo. Then we're going to do our torso twist. And I wrote, it could be, for those of you that are taking the recorded class, torso twist half turn. Then we would come back and do a head slide level. So head slides were something we worked on last week. Then you would float the arms up and do a pulse turn. And the arms would come back up, and then you'd do a reverse turn. And then you would come back and set into your torso twist and do a 3-point turn. So that is roughly the drill. You guys don't have to put the half turn and 3-point turn exactly in those positions, because I want you guys to play with how can you tell? How are you going to stop it? Are you not going to stop it? Are you just going to let it be a half turn? I don't know. Let's see, right? That's part of the fun of improv. Okay, so going back to the drill. Nice, smooth song. Good. How did that feel? So how did you feel about stopping it over here, Jen?
I don't mind stopping it. I've got to practice that one.
Yeah.
Like
so your angle was a little odd. So if I was stopping it there, you kind of were angled like this, but I would angle more directly at that corner. So it's real obvious that's what you're doing.
Okay.
Yeah? Makes sense? Because then when Cassie goes to that corner, it's real obvious that she's angled there. Yeah? As opposed to being more to the back.
Yeah, I want to make sure you know.
Yes, exactly. So how was it? Everybody else? Anybody else got any feedback? No? So how did that? I thought it was really nice to play around with going into the torso twist from arms here, from being the Taksim arms, and then playing around with having coming out of that reverse so your hands are split. Then you have to bring the right hand down and then go into it. So I thought it was kind of an interesting thing to go into it from two different arm positions. So that's why I had you do it twice. And I want you to play around with the half turn, 3-point turn as well. Yeah? Feels good? Okay, excellent. All right, so let's look at up 2, down 3. Oh, and one other thing I want to talk about before we move on is when you're doing something like this, and if you want to add in the Taksim when you stop it there, when you finish it for musicality, you absolutely can. Because like Jen, you stopped it there, so everybody's looking at you. So then if you want to add in a little Taksim with the arm undulations, it's totally legal. And then Cassie might want to mimic that same musicality when she stops it to this back corner for the 3-point turn, and then come back to the front, and then the person at the front, if they want to mimic the same musicality, if that same phrasing is going on in the music, they can do it here as well, which kind of has a nice balanced feel if you all do it. So just wanted to say that is totally legal. I know I said don't stop it and change the move, but that aspect is legal to do, okay? And I wanted to talk about, oftentimes we end up doing the half turn more often. If you're working in a duet, it makes more sense to do the half turn. If you're in a trio or a quartet, it really does show off the 3-point turn much better. If you just have 2 people and they're doing 3 points, then it's a lot of dancing with your back to an audience if you only have a one-sided audience. If you have a multiple-sided audience, I would do more 3-point turns. Yeah, it's true. But make sure good stuff is happening in your back if you're going to show your back to the audience for a while. That's what I'm, because there's certain steps that don't show up as well as others. So, all right, so up 2, down 3. So now we've really worked the upper back. Now we're going to move to the hips for up 2, down 3. But first, let's break it up and take a break for a second and work on the military pattern first. All right, so I know you guys all have your finger symbols on. Y'all are awesome. I just took mine off, so let me get mine back on. So you might have heard me tell Jen I thought her finger symbols were a little too close to the tips of her fingers. So make sure when you're playing, especially when you're playing a more complicated pattern like this, that they're up at least the first knuckle of your finger. And some people have short fingers, and that is totally. Well, honestly, when I'm looking at you, yours are not as close. I mean, hers were like right on the tip, like this, right? They were. And that's another thing too, is if you have short fingers, you definitely want to have smaller finger cymbals, right? So get the finger cymbals that, these are probably a little small for my hands, but I'm just comfortable with them. Yeah, and yours are larger, Cassie. That's a little bit large for your hand size, but it's all about what you're comfortable with. Oh yeah, well I don't think Jen's are big.
Yeah, I mean, she might like trying to play, they would be real loud.
Yeah, so try a smaller set, that'd be great. Yeah. Okay, so military pattern. It is a 4-count pattern that plays 2 of our right, left, rights, and then 7 counts of singles. So it's right, left, right, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Right, left, right, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. So you can say some fun little rhymes to help you, like I can zill, I can zill, I can really, really zill. Or some people said cup of tea, I am gonna have a cup of tea or something like that. I can't remember that one exactly, but I always say I can zill, I can zill, I can really, really zill.
What do you say, Cassie?
Cassie's like, I'm gonna say some complex musical thing, so yeah, exactly. So good news is there's no bridge here like there is with the ballady pattern, right? Unless you're an overachiever and you, like Cassie, the musical genius here, right? So let's try it a couple of times. 5, 6, 7, 8, right, left, right, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Right, left, right, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Good. Okay, so I'm going to put on a piece of music, and I'm actually going to choose a ballady pattern because it's a 4-count pattern that it goes really nicely with the military. And let's listen to that first, and then we'll start playing some finger cymbals. All right, so here is a version where they've got a little bit of a tempo change. So let's see what that sounds like. So listen to it. Let's count 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can find the beat. Roll left, right, roll left, right, roll left, roll left, roll left, right, roll left, right, roll left, right, roll left, roll left, roll left, right. And let your hands hang. Let me switch to another song that's a little bit slower. This is Ballady Unplugged. We use this a lot for finger cymbals. A little easier. And let your fingers hang so they could just use gravity. 5, 6, 7, 8. Right, left, right, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Right, left, right, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Right, left, right, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Right, left, right, right, left, right. Right, left, right, left, right, left, right. I can zill, I can zill, I can really, really zill. I can zill, I can zill, I can really, really zill. I can zill, I can zill, I can really, really zill. A little bit faster. And if you want to try a shimmy or something like that, 5, 6, 7, 8. I can zill, I can zill, I can really, really zill, I can zill, I can zill, I can really, really zill, I can zill, I can zill, I can really, really zill. Yay! Okay, that was good. All right. Okay, feels.
Good, and so my brain zones out and goes back to the other pattern.
Yeah, yeah. It's
It's
true.
You have enough people who can drown you out. You can just try it as best you can.
It's just, it'll take some practice to keep reminding yourself you're playing a different pattern, but I think that's a really good thing that your body wants to go back to just the continuous right, left, right pattern, because that means it's got a comfort level and you're kind of pushing it out of it, right? So that's good. I think that's good news, right? Yeah. All right. So that's roughly a military pattern. Okay, so that goes layers onto up 2, down 3. They has an extended military pattern for the forward and back step. That's a dialect on volume 9. And this ZIL pattern is also on the double back. All right, so which is on the modern volume 7 DVD. Okay, so our feet are split. This is in the bump family. So right foot's going to stay on the ball the whole time. Left foot's flat. So we're pivoting. When we pivot with this step, it's going to be on the left foot. And you're just going to pull yourself around with the right. Right? So we're going to take, it's pretty much just going to be this and stabilizing yourself while you're bumping your hip up and down. And then the same thing we do with the regular bump is just kind of stepping your right foot forward and pulling yourself around. So we are going to shift our weight from the right foot and then sit back into the left foot, but never at any time do I want you to sit to the point where you're really shifting your hip out to the side and letting your shoulders move over to the right. I want you to try to find your center and stabilize yourself with your core and your oblique muscles, right, when that hip comes back to the left leg. Okay, so the hips are going to go up and hold it up, and then we're going to go down, down, down. So I want you to visualize your hips are like descending a nice spiral staircase. Because the hips have twisted up, then they're going to slink down the spiral staircase. Is that what you're saying? Oh, a slinky. Okay, yeah. So this is just our norm. So the arms are going to be out if you want to start here, or if you just want to hold on and focus on the hips, that's fine. So we're going to twist the hips forward and up, release, twist the hip up, forward and up, and then we're going to contract a little bit more to raise this right hip. And then I want you to be pushing the ball of the right foot in the floor instead of balancing all your weight on the left. We're going to release the right hip, but not totally release. And a little bit of an up, and then release it again, and a little bit of an up, and release it again. And by the time you release it that last time, it should be even with the left hip. All right? So looking at ourselves in the mirror to check it out. All right? So weight on the left foot, twist the right hip forward, release, right hip forward, and stay up and down, up, down, and they land even with each other, okay? So we're really gonna be pushing into the ball of that right foot to control this, all right? So right hip twists up and release and up and down, up, down, up, down. So 4 counts, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So you feel like that right hip becomes like this because it happens a little fast. So you really need to be careful what type of music you're dancing to and not have it be so fast that this just becomes a big shake, right? So we don't want to rush this step so much. So I'm going to choose a song that's a little bit slower tempo. All right? So this really gives the upper body a challenge because we want the hips to show up, but we want to be able to stabilize the upper body. So how do you think we're stabilizing the upper body? What muscle is that? Latissimus. Yeah, that's it. That's it. So you're using that latissimus muscle, and this really gives the upper body some dimension to steady the chest and let the hips really show out or show up. So the arms, it's like they're hugging a big sequoia tree, right? So they're not going to be straight out to the side. They're going to be a little bit of rounded. Well, our arms are always rounded, as you guys see. And when I have my arms here, you might need to bring them overhead and just contract the middle back and then sit your arms back down on it. And then you really feel that connection, right? Of using the latissimus muscle. Yeah, so squeeze that middle back, arms nice hugging, and up, 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 down, down, down. Up, 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 down, down, down. Up, 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 down, down, down. So I'm really pushing and using the floor to stabilize my right side by keeping the ball of the foot on the floor. Now, when we start to pivot with it, you have to let that foot go so you can step forward. So there could be a little bit of a oof like this, right? So just want to be mindful about that, but we're not trying to kick the foot out at the end of it. If you've done like a Middle Eastern or Egyptian cabaret style, they might teach you to kick at the end of it, but Carolina says we don't need to play up that kick. Right? So let's try it. You ready? Oh, let's talk about how the finger cymbals lay on top of it. So the first two, twist, release, twist, is a right, left, right. And then the down, down, down are the singles. So let's put it together before we try music. All right? So contract the middle back, sit the arms back down. 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, feels good, huh? All right. Yeah, well, let's put it to the test. So our drill tonight is up 2, down 3 with a pivot. And unfortunately, up 2, down 3 really doesn't have any other variations besides the pivot. So I would hold it to the front for a couple of times and then pivot. And pivot is a flock of birds. So you're working together again, watching each other. Then we're going to go into our double bump from last week and our single bump from last week. And I'm going to give you an alternate. You can either do the single bump half turn or you can do an Egyptian half turn. And then Arabic. So let's talk about, I'd like you to try that drill at least twice. All right, but let's talk about what really feels good to come out of the up 2, down 3. So it really helps to do a step with a flat foot, a flat left foot afterwards. But if you want to try to do up 2, down 3, and then go into an Arabic where you're on the both balls, you can feel what that feels like. Right? Because you really have to, that's a big change in the feet. So it's a lot simpler to choose a step that has a flat left foot. So that would be the double bump or the single bump. Both have a flat left foot. So those are good choices to do afterwards. Now, if you want to do an Arabic, that's really nice to do before you do an up 2, down 3. And if you bring your arms here and you go flat on the left foot, that's a really dramatic cue for your followers. All right? So the drill, I'd like you to do it at least twice. Up 2, down 3, pivot, double bump, option to pivot, single bump, option to pivot, and either single bump half turn or Egyptian half turn and an Arabic, and repeat. And then play around with some other steps that you might want to try. And think about steadying your chest. Keep working on squeezing that middle back muscle. That's going to help you keep the chest nice and calm while you're really working your hip for up 2, down 3. Sound good? All right, and military. Okay, here we go. All right. All right, if y'all go ahead and get back into formation. Actually, what if we have 2 duets? Anybody else want to lead? Okay, maybe not. All right, just stay in the 4-person then. All right, Cassie feels comfortable leading. Let's do it. Yay! Great job, great job.
Hard on the left leg.
Good, how did that feel? Yes, that drill is focused a lot on bump family. So you're gonna feel a little bit more fatigue in your left leg. Normally we wouldn't do that much when we're just dancing, but we're just focused on that for class. So that's why I said you could do it twice and then kind of do other things or play with other things. So how did up 2, down 3 feel?
It's always been a challenging move for me. Yeah, I used to call it bumping and bumping and wiggle.
That's true. That was the beginning names, yes. And then they had to come up with real adult names to put onto DVDs, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, something different.
Well, your first 2 bumps are looking good, but this is like really tight. So keep working on it. And think about your hips are going downstairs, right? So Erin, what I'd see with you is you kind of, we're good here, and then you go whom and just let your hip totally go all the way down. So just think about managing that do. Yeah, it's good to stand on one leg and practice it. Absolutely.
Use those obliques.
Yeah. It's true. The obliques help it so much. Right? And so you're gonna actually, when you come up the second time, you're gonna contract it up a little bit more here with the side oblique, and then release it a little bit, pick it up, release it a little bit, pick it up, release it a little bit. Or release it completely.
Yeah, like cranks up and
yeah, I know the theory.
In theory, yes, but actually physically making it happen takes some time.
Yeah, and keeping in like line with my dance.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, good. It's a lot of fun.
We
And
do a lot of hip drops in this style.
it's 9 o'clock. It's what?
What time are we at?
9:15. All right, great. So inhale, arms up. Reach up with the right hand, reach up with the left hand. Get a nice stretch in the side body. I know, you're a little tree floating in the wind. Good, and now grab your elbows and let your head fall back. And now release and exhale and grab your hands behind you, rolling the shoulders back and down, and contract in the middle back and let your head fall back. And if you keep your teeth closed, you feel a nice stretch in the neck. Good. All right, now come to the hips in a nice big circle. Good. All right, and let's step back with the right foot because we haven't done any hip flexor stretches tonight. So, all right, so stepping back as wide as comfortably for you. So pressing with this back foot to push this right hip forward, pressing with the front foot to push the left hip back. So we're trying to keep the hips even. Yeah? And so inhale, arms up. And think about bending this front knee just a little bit more. All right, so the heel is on the floor. Everybody's heel's on the floor. Okay, now press into the ball of the foot. So pressing forward, bending that knee just a little bit more, contracting the glutes. And exhale, arms down. Inhale, arms in. Exhale, arms down. Maybe touch your fingers. Yeah, inhale, arms up, touch the fingers. Good, hold the hands up, push off with the back foot, bring in the hip feet side by side, shake it out. You can let the hands go. All right, now step back with the left foot. As wide as you're comfortably comfortable with. Heel down in the back. All right, so pressing into this front knee, just bending it a little bit more, wiggle the hips. All right, so back foot pushes the left hip forward. Front foot pushes the right hip back, so hips nice and even. Yeah, Inhale, arms up. All right. Now push up on the ball of the back foot, contracting both glutes and bending this front knee just a little bit more. Exhale. Inhale, touch your fingers overhead. Exhale, touch your fingers down below. Inhale. Keeping the hands up, pressing with the back foot, bringing the feet side by side. Good, and now wiggle the hips out a little bit. Excellent. Great job, ladies. Perfect. I love it. All right, and that is class. Great job. Good night, everyone.